What's up, nail geeks, and welcome to a massive, huge compilation of Chamaeleon Nails' most recent releases over the last few months. I have been working on this video literally since early May, so I want to start off with a quick disclaimer that you may see my lighting change a little bit depending on when I photographed these and or recorded. You might see a difference in my photos, all that stuff. The last 6 months, I have changed up my setup so much and grown and did different things, what's going to work and whatnot. So I do apologize about that discrepancy, but if I went back and swatched all 40 something of these polishes again, we'd be waiting for a very long time for me to get this out, along with all the other stuff I'm working on too. So this is a true labor of love. I'm happy to report that Color for Nails currently has these on pre-order right now through their website. So you can feel free to use this video as a catalog for your purchase options. Valerie and I have worked together to just get this compilation out. I'm very excited for this. I have several collections, and rather than just do this in chapter format, since these don't necessarily have a rhyme or reason to their specific season of release, we're just going to go through these. Without further ado, let's dive in and check out this beautiful Chamaeleon compilation. So off the bat here, we're going to begin with the South American Birds collection. These are all flaky toppers. This first one is Chilean Flamingo, described as an effect topper with pink to orange to green shifting iridescent flakes. I want to note that I think my video on these toppers is being pretty accurate to what I'm seeing in person, but they are quite noticeable. So for that reason, on my full hand shots for each one, I made sure to get up close and personal so you can see more of what I'm seeing in person. When you wear these on their own over any type of cream color, you will get this nice scattered type of effect of these flakes across your nails. In my opinion, the majority of their sizes are small and medium. Cotinga Cotinga, if I said that correctly, is an iridescent flaky topper that shifts purple, pink, and hints of green. I'm going to try to get you all each of these descriptions on each of the flaky toppers, while I also discuss overall. Now, Cotinga, I actually took to 2 coats. I really appreciated that on the video and my photos, you can see it more obvious on the nail. So please note, personally, I think 1 coat is just enough for you to see the flakes across your nails, but because they are true Mylar effect, honestly, your girl is very extra. In real life, I would wear these like how I wore this one at 2 coats over a cream undie. Indigo Macaw is an effect topper with blue iridescent flakes that shift turquoise and hints of green. So again, we're just going off of various color rolls for each of these. Indigo Macaw had mostly smaller types of flakes here. And this one, I decided to go in pretty heavy-handed on 1, technically 2 coats, if you really want to get technical here. And I just wanted to make sure you could see it because those blue icy flakes were subtle on the video at that 1 coat, so I chose to go up to 2. I'm not mad at it. Again, if I were wearing these for my personal use, I would do 2 coats. Picaflor is an effect topper with iridescent flakes in 4 different colors. This one's yellow, green, pink, and blue. This one is my top pick out of the South American Birds. It is rainbow filled. I think in any type of flaky collection or multi-chrome collection, there's always that one shift that is very special and it takes on more of a rainbow than a particular color family, if that makes sense. Picaflor is that one and it's my favorite. There's smaller type of flakes, but it gives you this fantastic rainbow effect over any color. Sun Parakett is an effect topper with yellow to green, shifting iridescent flakes. So another delicate, smaller flake variety going on here. This one has more of a warm type of color roll to it. So if you're looking for reds, oranges, bronzes, things like that, Sun Parakett's going to be your thing. So very much lining up with their respective inspirations for each bird. Now, across the board, I did not have any texture with any of these. They behaved very well. The bases in each of the toppers is a little squishy, so I had excellent flaky pickup off of the brushes, so no need to go in extra special or icing method or anything like that. So no, I guess, technique advice going on here outside of do 2 coats. That way, if you're like me and you like it loud and obnoxious, it's just chef's kiss. Quaker Parrot has more of an almost tinier flaky variety, as you can see on my photos here. And we've got an earthy type of shift between limes and greens and yellows. And then Toco Toucan is an effect topper with orange to yellow shifting iridescent flakes. This one's a lot more of that warmer type of variety we're seeing here. Very much kind of like sun parakeet, if you will. But sun parakeet had a green shift at the most extreme angles, where Toco has that orange to yellow, just very warm type of vibes going on here. Now, I did wear a regular, my usual glossy top coat in all of the topper photos and videos. And then moving along with the multi-chrome set, this first one is Dark Matter, described as a multi-chrome that shifts from a deep blue to magenta and hints of orange depending on the viewing angle. This one is very nice. Across the board, I have to say, as much as I appreciated the flaky toppers, I love me a good, solid multi-chrome. And these are like almost old school in that Valerie didn't put anything extra in them. And I don't know, I personally appreciate that, because if I wanted flakies or something, I could absolutely topper my multi-chromes, but that's just my preference there. Dark Matter, I'm going to suggest going up to 3 coats for opacity to really build up that color roll and that shift. Indoor lighting situations, regular lighting situations, you're going to see mostly a sapphire blue, an easy shift to purple at angles, and then there is this delicious orange at the most extreme angles. Exoplanet is a multi-chrome that changes from pink to gold to green depending on the viewing angle. So we have one that's a touch earthier, more coppery in general. I'm also going to suggest going up to 3 coats with it. All of the multi-chromes you are seeing at 3 coats, period, the end. These types of multi-chrome pigments, at least to my eyes, are particles that are making up your opacity in a base of some sort. So we don't necessarily have a straight chrome appearance and or a chrome streaking thing to be cautious of. It's just almost like a shimmer in how it builds up, if that makes sense. So light to normal coats, I saw no reason to be careful or anything like that. Dry time was great too. So 3 coats, glossy top coat, and you're good to go. Hyperspace is my personal top pick out of the multi-chromes. This one is a turquoise to purple to pink, depending on the viewing angle. As I said on the topper for the South American birds, there's always one out of any multi-chrome or any really special effect themed collection that always will catch your eye, at least for me. And all the time for multi-chromes, for me, it's always the one that has the main color flip being a teal of some sort, or rather in this case, a turquoise. And then I know it's going to flip over to this nice, beautiful pinky color. And this one's no exception. It is very shifty in person. I don't think my full hand shot's giving you the greatest representation per se. That is what you will see in normal lighting though. In shaded lighting and at angles, you'll see this beautiful pinky color come out to play with gold at the most extreme angles. Neptune's Diamond Ring is a multi-chrome that shifts from emerald to turquoise to dark blue, depending on the angle. This one also has fine scattered holographic glitter, which is meant to represent the diamond rain on Neptune. Now, I want to know, I think as I build it up here, I dare say, you can see what I was seeing in person in that the holographic glitter is such a fine particle. It gives you this subtle type of sparkle effect to it that to my eye, in person, it almost looked like it was part of that shimmery multi-chrome type formula. So I didn't have any issues with texture or anything like that. It just has a touch more of a glistening looking effect, if that makes sense. Solar Wind is a multi-chrome that changes red, gold, and green depending on the viewing angle. So Solar Wind is going to be our fiery type of multi-chrome shift, almost earthy, if you will. Indoor lighting and normal plain lighting situations. In my opinion, it's on this bronzy red looking color, and there is an easy fiery gold at angles. When you take your nails and you're looking at the most extreme angles, like you're looking at your nails, say your free edge, I should say, head on, you will see that beautiful green shift. It's very lovely and just really flattering for being such a rusty type of color. In my opinion, this is usually one that I kind of gravitate away from, given that I'm very warm toned to myself, but that is not the case here. I think this one's really flattering. And then going on to the Flaky Kingdom collection, Castle on the Flaming Rock is a neutral gray curly filled with pink to yellow to green iridescent flakes and copper to green UCC flakes. This one also has a soft red to gold to green shimmer. I would describe Castle as being a true curly type of formula. It's almost milky in how it applies, but it has an incredibly light type of feel in how you apply it. So make sure you're exploiting that firm styled brush really well for this, and go in light on your coats to prevent any type of over buildup. This is going to give you a dusky type of grade effect. I think this shimmer is pretty subtle in person, and you'll want to finish with a glossy top coat. Dragonskin is described as a very special green acrylic with red to gold UCC flakes and soft orange shimmer. It does state in our PR information this is considered a true jelly type of finish, and that base color gets darker depending on the amount of coats you do. I 100% agree with that. You will have a touch of opacity on that second coat, but you know me, I like plump, thick appearance, and I like to really build it up. I think 3 coats is best on this one. It's going to give you that true, beautiful jewel-toned type of emerald color. This will leave you a touch thirsty because it's packed full of flakes, so you'll want to finish with a good glossy top coat. On the Fairy Moon is one of my top picks for the Flaky Kingdom collection. This one is a holographic base with pink, orange, yellow iridescent flakes and magenta holographic glitters in a variety of sizes. Overall, this, to my eyes, to my opinion, if you will, is a jelly type of base. It feels light and somewhat metallic as you build it up to opacity. I'm going to strongly suggest you go up to 3 coats with it. This gives me like old school indie vibes. I have so many types of linear silvery holographics with different sprinklings of colorful glitters, and this is definitely in that category. It's just beautiful on the rainbow factor in the sunshine, and in dulled lighting, you'll get that sparkle effect from the glitters. Queen of the Night is described as a black jelly base with pink to orange iridescent flakes and small golden hollow glitters. Another very jelly type of formula, very much like Dragonskin. So if you want to build this up to a stark type of opacity, I would almost suggest going in with 1 coat of a black cream undie and then 2 coats of Queen of the Night. I would suggest 2 coats or 3 coats of Queen of the Night, light ones, mind you, as it is quite jelly and plumping on application. That way you can exploit all those adorable, super sparkly, colorful little glittery things all throughout the polish. This one is going to leave you a touch textured. So again, go in very thin, especially if you need to use a glitter smoothing top coat because you don't want over buildup. Sauron's Eye is described as a fiery orange jelly base with many iridescent flakes and copper to green UCC flakes. I agree with that official description. It is a true fiery orange. On my monitors, I dare say, knock on wood, that it is leaning color accurate to what I'm seeing in person here. This type of orange has a strong red undertone to it, but I would not classify it as being neon and or traffic cone in that type of red orange. However, it is still incredibly vibrant and bright, and I can see it popping really well on medium to deep skin tones. Spellbound is a vibrant purple jelly base with a lot of pink to orange to green iridescent flakes. This is one of those, quote unquote, those types of purples that I always say is very flattering across the board. Spellbound is also very jelly-like. It has a super light formula to it. If you have an incredibly prominent free edge or you have falsies like mine, you can kind of see through them here. I would suggest a blurring base coat of some sort, or maybe even a purple undie, if you will, whatever your preference is. If that bothers you, of course. That softer, jellier type of appearance, again, it's a light type of opacity, if that makes sense. I do apologize about my photos here. I was trying to color correct that purple, and let's just scrap the photos in general. For color accuracy, please refer to the video. The Unicorn Glade is one of my other top picks for this set. This one is a cornflower blue crelly filled with a variety of colors in UCC flakes and pink, orange, yellow iridescent flakes. This is such a fun color. I really like this soft, powdery type of cornflower blue. It is very jelly-like, in my opinion. Got that lighter type of formula that we're seeing with the other jellies in this collection. I'm going to suggest 3 coats for opacity. Go in light, just allow it to slowly build up, and it gives you this almost interestingly enough, almost like a milky sort of blue finish, if that makes sense. I would suggest a glossy top coat with this one. Just be careful of over buildup in how you are applying said top coat. Water of Awakening is a dark blue jelly filled with a variety of colorful iridescent flakes. This one is a true, just straight up jelly going on here. No milky type of lean whatsoever, or crelly lean, I should say. And for opacity, I'm going to suggest 3 coats and a glossy top coat. If a visible nail line bugs you, my caveat will apply here. Use a matching base, a nude to you cream, or a blurring base of some sort, as this one is going to leave you with a touch of a visible nail line and or seeing through your falsies, just like what you're seeing on my full hand shot there, especially in brighter lighting situations. No issues with texture or anything, but I loved that tiny mylar effect from the flakes. Witchcraft is a magenta colored jelly with a lot of iridescent flakes. So very much true to what we're seeing for the rest of the polishes in the Flaky Kingdom collection. I'm going to suggest 3 coats to build this one up to opacity. You can stop at 2 coats if you preferred a lighter type of magenta appearance to that base color. But because this is jelly, I will forever want to wear them at 3 coats, not just for opacity's sake, but because I want to see how deep we can get that base color to look. And you can see this is beautifully jewel toned and quite opaque at the 3rd coat. So your preference with how, say, jello-like that you want this to look. No issues with texture or anything, just finish with a good glossy top coat. And moving on to the Sweet Escape collection, this is at the Lotus Pond, described as a base color that's white when exposed to sunlight, and it turns into a beautiful pink in the sunshine and or UV light. It has golden iridescent flakes and copper-colored UCC flakes throughout it. Now, I want to note that each of the polishes, there's 5 of them in the Sweet Escape collection. These are all solar polishes. So you will, in order to see that color shift, you'll need to be either in the sunshine or use a UV flashlight or a nail lamp, which is what I'm showing you on the video here. Some of these transitioned so ridiculously quick back that they were kind of tricky to get any type of video or sometimes photos. So I do apologize about that. I did my best to show you all the solar change. Blooming Hibiscus is a white base that transitions over to a deep magenta when exposed to sunlight, filled with iridescent flakes and copper UCC flakes that shimmer through beautifully, again, touching back on the base color to each of the Secret Escape polishes. In my official PR information here, the official description does state that they are, say, white, respectively, for each of the colors. In front of me, the bottles here and or on the video too, I think you're getting a really good idea of what they look like not transitioned in UV or sunlight. I think it's more of a cream type of base to each rather than stark white. Sunset at the Ocean Store is an almost white base color, which transitions to a blue when exposed to sunlight. It's got orange iridescent flakes, and it's also got a shimmer that is very subtle throughout. So again, we are seeing that almost yellowish cream. It's almost like a parchment type of yellow cream color, if I personally had to name it myself. If I ever had my own brand, I am so screwed on naming my official descriptions. Anyways, Sunset at Ocean Shore. Again, I chose to take it up to 3 coats, and I used my regular glossy top coat to smooth it out. And then you can see right there, it's this beautiful baby blue in the sunshine. The Forgotten Lagoon is a white base color, again, with yours truly's parchment caveat, that has a green to orange iridescent flaky mix, green to bronze UCC flakes, and it turns blue in the sunshine. I want to note that Ocean Shore was that more baby blue-like color, and then Forgotten Lagoon will turn out to be a darker, deeper type of blue when exposed to UV light and or sunshine, but you get what I mean there. Each of these will leave you a bit thirsty and just a touch textured, just the tiniest bit. I don't think there's a need for a glitter smoothing top coat, but I think a glossy top coat works the best. And then you can see on my transition shift here that yes, the flakes are different in this one, and the blue is just a touch deeper than Ocean Shore. Under the Jacaranda tree, I apologize if I said that name incorrectly. This one is another I'm going to say parchment white base, and it's got pink blue iridescent flakes, green to copper UCC flakes, and it's also got a soft green to blue to turquoise shimmer. This one changes over to magenta in the sunshine and or UV light. I keep saying that there is a shimmer to each of these. I do agree with the official descriptions and that the shimmer is very subtle on the video and on my photos. And I also think that in person, that shimmer is very subtle too. Now, this one, you can see how just banging this one was. Some of the solars that I work on tend to behave very nice and change just enough for me to get a good shot for you all, but sometimes that's not always the case. And then my favorite set in this whole video is the Magical Fairies. There are 4 of them. These are all solar polishes too. Enchanted Fairy Meadow is a pastel neon green solar polish, which transitions to a bluish green when exposed to sunlight, and it has iridescent flakes. This has a true curly formula. It's plump, very easy to build up to an opacity. With that said, I'm going to suggest if you are like me and you prefer 3 coats for thickness, go in light. You don't want to have over buildup. I chose to use a thin layer of glitter smoother with my glossy top coat for each of the 4 in the Magical Fairy set, just because these will leave you a touch textured from the flakes and thirsty. And I don't know. I loved how bold each of the UV and non-UV colors were in each of the Magical Fairy set. Very, very striking. Fairies of the Air is a baby blue base, and it turns like a bluish purple in sunlight, and it also has iridescent flakes. So this one is just a touch lighter in formula than, say, that previous one, Enchanted Fairy Meadow. I still think 3 light coats will be perfect. Again, we want to prevent any type of over buildup, as all 4 Magical Fairies have plumpness to them. So I still decided to use a very, very thin layer of glitter smoothing top coat and a glossy top coat. I can't highlight it enough. Please be mindful of potential over buildup with all of those coats. In the sunshine and or UV light, or nail lamp, if you will, this is going to change over to a very striking type of purple. This one looked so freaking cool on my solar shot. I was very proud of myself when I went to edit photos, because sometimes it's a little tricky, I'm not going to lie, to catch a solar polish transition in a photo. Flame Fairy is a coral shade that turns over to a red with cool undertones when exposed to sunlight. It's also filled with iridescent flakes. Now, I know this is what I would consider a true neon type of coral color. It's like this pinky orangey type shade, almost peachy too, depending on your skin tone color. I think it's going to play up against your respective skin tone across the board. But I think this is probably going to get so skewed across monitors, tablets, phones, whatever. So just that caveat there. If this is looking bizarre on your screen, I apologize about that. When you use your nail lamp or you go outside to see the transition, this one's really freaking cool. I think this was in my opinion, a really unique type of solar transition. It's almost purpley, but it's like a reddish type of purple. Again, 3 light coats, maybe a glitter smoother, and a glossy top coat is perfect. Realm of Pixies is a solar polish that's pastel neon pink indoors that transitions over to a violet when exposed to sunlight. This one's probably, I dare say probably one of my top picks in the entire video. I thoroughly enjoyed this one. This also has that curly type of formula to it, go in light, and it's got a bit of a milky type lean as you build it up. So go in light on your coats. Maybe 2 coats might work. That's up to you, but I personally liked that thickness I got going in for that 3rd coat. I was just very mindful and careful to not go too ham on that. Glossy top coat, thin layer of glitter smoother, and I was perfect to go. This is to me, it's like a really good Barbie pastel type pink. In the sunlight, you will see this transition over to that gorgeous, deep, rich purple that you're seeing right there on my transition shot. And then we've got some top sellers from other collections just sprinkled throughout the end of this video here. This is Dunedin Coast, described as a neon blue base with golden to orange iridescent flakes. a very flattering type of neon blue. I would describe this as being a medium type of neon blue. It plumped up really well for me on the second coat, but I chose to take it to a third coat. If you decide to wear it like yours truly, I would suggest going in very thin on your coats because very much like the Magical Fairies, this one has a potential for over buildup if you are not careful in how thick you are applying your coats. So if you tend to apply heavy-handed and normal, you probably might want to stop at 2 coats. No issues with the flakes here or any of the polishes in this entire video. I had no problems with fishing or anything sticking up, nothing to report like that. All the flakes behaved perfectly. Evening in Provence is a magenta base with orange to gold iridescent flakes and copper to green iridescent UCC flakes. This is what I would describe as being a type of grape, jewel-toned type of purple base, and I appreciated how warm those flakes were throughout the polish itself. I'm going to suggest 3 coats for opacity. This behaved more like a jelly, less like a crelly, so I didn't really see a need to be careful with how I am building it up in general to prevent over buildup. And again, you got that beautiful reddish glow from the flakes, which transitions over to a lovely gold at the most extreme angles. So you'll want to gloss this one up for sure. Kuang Si Falls, I apologize if I said this one incorrectly. This one's described as a teal neon base with orange to yellow iridescent flakes. These types of base colors are some of my favorite. They're almost like in-between type of colors, and I'm always here for that because they make the most unique type of colors, if that makes sense. This one also has a true type of jelly formula to it, very much like Evening in Provence. I'm going to suggest 3 coats to build it up. The flakes are of the smaller size, so you get this nice scattering of a pond effect between your coats, especially if you take it to 3 coats like myself. Use a good glossy top coat to plump it up and give you that strong jello-like appearance. Those of you with a really prominent free edge, you might see a touch of a smile line in this one. Midnight Circus is a navy blue lacquer with a variety of iridescent flakes and complemented with a soft pink to red shimmer. We have another true jelly-like formula here, very much like the last 2 that we just checked out. So my visible nail line disclaimer will apply here, and no issues with over buildup or anything. I will just strongly suggest wearing this one also at 3 very light coats to maximize that gorgeous navy blue-ish type of base. This is very nice. And I don't know, I just always like those like not traditional type of colors, the in-between colors. Again, use a good glossy top coat to seal this one up. It did have a touch of texture and thirstiness to it. So depending on your glossy top coat, whichever one you're using, you might want to use a thin layer of glitter smoother. Tijuca Forest is a grass green neon base with golden iridescent flakes complemented with golden holographic glitters. Again, I do apologize if I said that name incorrectly. I do agree with the official description. This is a true grass green base. It's quite vibrant on the nail, and I think it's going to pop ridiculously well on medium to deep skin tones. At least on myself, I thought it popped really, really well. I'm going to strongly urge you to go up to 3 coats on this one too. This is a true jelly type of buildup and the overall effect of that base color. And to maximize that strong, gorgeous base color, I think 3 coats is best. You want to go in with a glossy top coat to give you that jello-like effect. And if you're using something that's on the thinner side, you may want to use a glitter smoothing top coat underneath your glossy top coat. Blazing Evening Sky is a muted dark blue base filled with green to orange iridescent flakes. This is another one of my top picks in the entire video. So going in with 3 coats here too, this is also very true jelly-like buildup in opacity. I will strongly push you to do 3 coats to build this up to. We want to maximize this gorgeous blue base. It's like a midnight blue, at least to my eyes it is. When I was a kid, that midnight blue crayon was like my favorite color ever. And I think this is kind of in line with said crayon. Anyways, I so love how shimmers and flakes color roll so well in this type of blue color. I think my full hand shot gives you a really good idea of how deep that color goes in regular lighting situations. Again, you may want to use a thin layer of glitter smoothing top coat if your top coat is of the thinner variety. Haunted House is another interesting type of color thing going here. These next few are from the spooky season of previous Halloween collection. This one is described as a neon blue base with pink to orange to green iridescent flakes and black flakes. True jelly formula going on here, and as you build it up, you'll get this beautiful pond effect with the black flakes and those iridescent flakes. This is very jelly-like and almost, I don't know, I don't want to classify it as a sheer because it's not that sheer, but it is very jelly-like. So regardless, I will say my standard disclaimer applies here. If a visible nail line bothers you, I didn't think it was super noticeable, but it is true jelly-like. Magic Potion is a neon mint green base filled with pink to purple to blue iridescent flakes and black flakes. So we have another almost grassy type of green. I think this is less bright, more vibrant, if that makes sense. And I also chose to take it up to 3 coats. It is very jelly-like in opacity, and I think that 3rd coat is very necessary. Also to maximize the pond effect between those lush blue flakes and the black flakes. Definitely gives off very Halloween-y type of vibes going on here. And I'm going to suggest going in with a glitter smoothing top coat and a glossy top coat. In my experience, those polishes with any type of size of black flakes, I just noticed that in general, they're very thirsty. Witch's Feast is a magenta with warm undertoned base with green to orange iridescent flakes. So another grape type of color going on here, not necessarily one I would consider that quote unquote that type of purple. It is more of a jewel toned type of purple. We have another true jelly-like formula going on here. So again, I'm going to repeat myself on these last 2. It is highly recommended by yours truly. Go up to 3 coats and finish with a glossy top coat. I didn't really have a whole lot of texture with this one. It dried down pretty flat and smooth, like pretty much any other type of jelly polish, and those flakes are on the smaller size, so no issues in terms of thirstiness from them. And last but not least, we've got Wicked. This is a neon magenta base with blue to turquoise iridescent flakes and black flakes. So this is what I would consider an example of quote unquote that type of purple. It is what I would consider neon. It is quite vibrant in person. And in case it gets skewed across screens, to my eyes, I would describe this as being a neon purple with a magenta undertone to its base, if that makes sense. I dare say, knock on wood again, that this is coming off color accurate on my monitor here. Crossing my fingers that this is one of those that doesn't give me trouble. Purples typically don't, but you never know at this rate. I so appreciated how those flakes popped so ridiculously well against that base color, and it makes this beautiful pond-like effect. And it's a little more opaque than some of the other jellies we see in this last little miscellaneous section. And we're going to wrap this up with the Will It Topper segment. This is where I use a black swatch stick to demonstrate if polishes have layering capabilities. I want to note with a quick caveat that some of these I did not choose to do a topper with, as we have already seen them toppered, say the South American birds, and or some of the solars, as you're not going to see much of a difference. So kicking it off with the multi-chromes, yes, you can absolutely topper the multi-chromes. If you do, I think you could do matchy-match colors, kind of play around with some color theory on their respective color rolls and an undie of your choosing. Of course, black is going to make these look more, I guess, rich and deep and vampy. And yeah, you'll see quite a bit of a color roll with them. And I think it's really interesting because they are not necessarily that chrome type of multi-chrome that we see usually. These are more particled type of multi-chrome. I think you can get a little creative with wearing these. And then going in with the Flaky Kingdom, a lot of these, they are very jelly-like, and sure, they show up decently well over black, but I'm a little on the fence, especially for the jellies, because jellies to me are almost like undies themselves. So your total preference on that, I think if you wanted to, say, use an undie with matchy-match colors, you can absolutely do that, but does not float my boat. Spellbound was one of the ones that I chose to do over white. Same thing with Unicorn Glade. Again, some of these I've recorded way back in May, so I was still figuring out how I wanted to do the Will It Topper, and moving forward, I'm sticking with black swatch sticks, but the jellies, some of them I wanted to do over white just to show the difference back early summer. But anyways, I digress. Water of Awakening looks really cool, but please note it also has that very tinted blue jelly base to it. And then moving on to the Magical Fairies, all of these I chose to do over white. You can wear these over white if you wanted to have, say, a more cream looking appearance. Personally, I think that's, I don't know, it's kind of redundant. It's a bit of overkill. I think they look great by themselves, especially there is no reason to try to amplify the vibrancy of their either non-solar or solar activated colors. But if you, for some reason, wanted to do these over a white undie, I would strongly suggest going in for 2 coats over 1 coat of a white cream of some sort. Again, we want to prevent any type of over buildup because these are very Crelly-like in their application. Now for the miscellaneous jellies, I think these look pretty cool over black per se. They do pass that test, but they are very tinted. With jellies, I'm pretty hesitant to say if you could topper with them or not, as I stated previously, but your preference on that. I think if you wanted to stick with matchy match undies, that could work. Black does work, but please note in person, the way I'm holding this watch stick here, I could absolutely see the heavy tint from their base colors. But I think this also gives you a really good idea of the types of flakes that are used in each of the polishes here, because I feel like this brand in general does flaky polishes a ton. I feel like flakies are her specific specialty, which as a person who is very, very picky on flaky finishes themselves, I have to say these are the types of flakes that I can definitely appreciate. I like when they're super iridescent. They have less of that plasty looking feel on how they look against the polish. I don't know if that makes sense. I feel like some flakes add too much bulk and then you can tell that they look bulky. But when it's just adding a pop of color and say, I guess their seams, for lack of better words, are not seen amongst the base color that they're in, I think that works really well. The Chamaeleon Nails pre-order is currently going on through Color for Nails. This is a US-based indie polished stockist. This particular stockist has been around for a hot minute. I used to shop here a ton way back in the day. And you can see right here, this is what the site looks like. There is a ton on pre-order right now. These are anticipated to be shipped within the first week of November. You can get your claws on any of the polishes and more that you saw in this video. So lots to check out here. I will link you all below to Color for Nails website if you want to check it out. And I'll also link you to Chamaeleon Nails website if you want to order directly from Valerie. She is a German-based indie polish maker. However, if you do want to order straight from her, she does offer international shipping at cost. All you got to do is just email her through her customer service email that you can find on her website. So I'm going to link both of those below in the description box, including timestamps if you need to go back for anything. I hope this video helped, and go snag you some pretty polishes during this pre-order. And as always, if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching.